Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. In this project we're going to use lots of Anna Griffin goodies, but we're going to use some of our scraps up. So this card is an ideal way to use some of your scraps from different collections from Anna, and it shows you how they will all mix and match together. Everything I do use will be on my blog. From now on I'm trying to make you all head over to watch on my blog, because you get more of a description and the full list of items that I've used on there. And it helps me if you head over there. So the base card that we're using is a 6x6 inch card in ivory. Now I know I always go for the 7x5 inch, but this is a nice size square card. Not too big, not too small. It's not over daunting for anybody that's just starting to make cards. So it's an ideal way just to make a nice card for somebody. So as always, we're going to start with the inside of our card. I'm using my bone folder to get that sharp crease along the edge. So for the insert, now this is a really nice way to make an insert, and it's not a difficult way. So the first thing that I've done is I've cut out a piece of ivory paper stroke cardstock. Now, I know a lot of you have asked about matching ivories together. Believe it or not, the paper that I use doesn't match my card. It looks like it does, but it doesn't quite match. And I kind of like that, because it makes it show that you have added something extra to it. And it isn't the case of getting hung up about everything has to match. If you're making wedding invitations, something special for somebody, maybe something that somebody's paying for, then yes, it probably would have to match. But for making cards and just having fun with your craft, try not to get too hung up about having to have everything to match. Because sometimes the tone on tone can look better than an exact match. So I've cut out a base square for the insert. And then using Anna's Say It Anyways stamps, I've taken one of the square stamps and I've stamped it 4 times in the corners. Probably not quite straight, but you know, straight as I'm going to get it. And then I've cut out a square in the centre using, for the squares I use either a press cut die square die or a Spellbinders square die. So in this case, it was just a press cut square. So I've stamped the corners, and this was using one of Anna's pink ink pads from the summer fall collection from last year. So I've got double-sided tape on the back of it, and we'll just peel the tape away. So we're going to position this through the centre of our card. And now you'll probably pick up that the ivory isn't the same ivory. Or maybe you won't. It maybe looks as though it matches completely. But there is just that slight variation, which I think looks quite nice. So next I've cut a square using the same size die. And this was out of a scrap of paper that I had from one of Anna's collections. And I think this was from the Boxing Day papers. I might be wrong. And I'm just going to simply slip that square through the centre where we've cut the square previously. And then I've stamped a smaller square, and it says for your special day. And this is cream ivory cardstock. And I'm just going to put it through the centre like so. And that is our insert finished. So now we can go to the front of our card. Again, just give it a good score. And the base layer for this is from the Rose Designer collection. I've cut it to fit the front of the card, and I've got the double-sided tape on the back of it. Oops, mind of its own. So we'll just peel our tape away. There we go. And we can pop that through the centre of our card. Get it the right way, Anne-Marie. There we go. Like so. I always hold my breath when I do this bit because I'm reaching round the camera and trying to get it straight. And so that's our base layer. Next, what I've got is I've been using my little mini Xyron machine and I've cut out lots of squares, as you can see. And all you do is when you put it through your Xyron, when it comes out, make sure you run your finger around the edge or a bone folder. Do this because you're breaking the seal of the glue around the edge, basically. And I know I've had a few people say, oh, I get glue all over my things. And well, make sure you're quite firm with it before you peel the top bit off. And then that releases the actual glue from around the side of whatever you're working on. So I've cut out lots of squares, and as you see, put them through my Xyron machine. Now the squares I've used are from different collections from Anna. The first one is from the Boxing Day papers, and I'm simply going to add that to the front of my card. The second one I've got is from the Boxing Day papers as well. I think this was from a collection a few years ago, but it's such a pretty cardstock. So we're adding that one. And then we've got one from the Rose collection. Again, we'll add that to the front of our card, like so. And then I've got one from the Charlotte collection as well. So these were made from scraps that I had in my scrap box. And I thought I just wanted to show you that we could put something together using different collections. So next I've got the squares from the Charlotte collection. And I've ran those through the Xyron as well. And we're going to add each of those squares on top of the previous squares, like so. There we go. And the last one there. Trying to get them all in a straight line and straight. So that's the base of our card really. Next I've used Paper Tricks 2 to cut out some of the, whether you call them fishtails, swallowtails. Again, these were out of scrap. And I'm simply adding them through the centre. And this was from one of the scrap pieces that I had from the Boxing Day collection. And then again I've cut out two of the smaller fishtails through in some pink metallic cardstock from Anna. Again, it was in my scrap box, so don't worry that you've cut both ends, you're only going to see the one end. So overlap those in the middle. Then I've got the last square that we put through the Xyron, which was another piece from the Boxing Day papers, and I'm just simply going to add that over the little fishtails that we've added, like that. Then I've got another of the squares from the Charlotte collection, and I've put this on 3D foam, and that's going to sit nicely through that centre square. So you can see how it's all building up now. Now I've got a sentiment from Anna's favourite sentiment sticker collection, and through the middle I've left it as a sticker, but on the ends I've put some 3D foam, because I want it to sit across our centre, and that's raised, so I don't want the ends raised, so it will just sit like that. There we go. And then to finish it off, I've got a little green bow. Now I can either add my bow at the top, at the side. I'm going to go for underneath because I'm going to keep it kind of following that pattern. I quite like that. Well, I do like symmetrical patterns and geometric patterns, and being a designer, it's really nice to be able to make something and design something on the computer that's symmetrical. So that is our card finished, and I think that is such a pretty card. You can now see how the insert follows the pattern for the outside, and the outside using the scrap papers for the layers. Even though they're from different collections, they all tone in. They all just make such a gorgeous card. It stands up nicely. It would look great on anybody's mantelpiece or on a windowsill. I'd have that on the mantelpiece. I wouldn't put it on the windowsill. You know, you have the special ones on the mantelpiece. So head on over to my blog for all the ingredients that we've used to make this. If you've got anything to say, please feel free. You can still comment on YouTube and I'll still get back to you. Hit that like button on YouTube. If you feel like sharing, please do, because it always helps me. So it just remains for me to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.